Hey everyone, Mario again, coming at you with another episode of Undertaker's Streak-A-Thon. We are now in the fifth match in the streak, his match with Big Daddy Cool Diesel. The match took place at WrestleMania 12, which took place at the Arrowhead Pond in Anaheim, California on March 31st, 1996, in front of 18,853 people. And the match went 16 minutes and 46 seconds, the longest in the streak up until this point, and the first to clock in over 10 minutes. The previous year, late in the year, Undertaker injured his orbital balloon, so he had to be out for a little bit for surgery, and when he came back, that's when he was wearing that Phantom of the Opera-inspired mask. Now, at the Royal Rumble, he had a WWE Championship match with Bret Hart, and during this match, Diesel interfered, unmasking Taker and costing him the title match. On the February 5th episode of Raw, Hart and Taker had a rematch, and of course, Diesel interfered again. Now, at that month's In Your House pay-per-view, which was Rage in the Cage, Diesel faced Hart inside a steel cage. And as Gino himself, Gorilla Monsoon, would have said, turnabout's fair play, Taker interfered, because, as he would probably go, Diesel, you cost me my match. You know, get yours. This is not just any interference. It's interference where Taker comes up from the bottom of the ring and pulls Diesel down with him, basically, metaphorically, pulling Diesel down into the depths of hell. Not the first time I've seen him do that, not the last. Probably the one that sticks with me is when he chokeslammed Edge through the ring and then a little bit of flame came up. So he literally chokeslammed Edge to hell. A couple more weeks of tension followed, and eventually the match at Mania was scheduled. And of course, this was Diesel, Kevin Nash's last Mania match before he went down to WCW and formed the NWO for life. And as I mentioned, the match was 16 minutes, and it wasn't boring a lot of the time. I mean, the match was slow-paced, but it's a slow pace to where it catches your attention. It doesn't. The wrestlers aren't rushing, but you're engaged in what's happening. And with the styles that the two wrestlers have, that's what they should have been done. I mean, this is before Taker was doing elaborate technical stuff in his matches. I mean, he wasn't doing the whole no-sell and then just chop thing. He had grown out of that stage, but he hadn't gone into what he was in the mid-2000s when he was at his peak of wrestling, at least when it comes to match work. He was still good at this point, but it wasn't at that same level until his fall from grace in the late 2000s to 2010s. He was like a fine wine, got better with age. And Nash, I wouldn't say he can't wrestle, but he's limited in what he does. He's a brawler, and Taker was kind of a technical brawler at this time. And their styles kind of meshed well. I mean, I wouldn't say they got the best match out of each other that they've ever had, but for what the two did at this time with their ring work and how they went together, it's the match you would expect. And with how the two characters were at this time, because Nash was a heel, Taker babyface, it worked. And of course, Nash dominates most of the match. I mean, there's one part where he has Taker on the outside, and he's basically coming back inside the ring and back out to break the referee's count while dominating. Then at one point, he kind of scares Paul Bearer away. And of course, Taker does regain control of the match a couple times, and there's one point where he does a flying clothesline that kind of looks like a clothesline combined with a shoulder tackle because of how he did it technically. It's like, yeah, that's not like Kane's one. I wonder if that's where they got the idea to have Kane do a flying clothesline as part of his moveset, or if Glenn Jacobs was already doing one and he just decided to keep it with Kane. Remember to put that in the file to look up later. And of course, near the end of the match, Kevin Nash hits a jackknife powerbomb, but he doesn't go for the cover. This is how you protect a finish without having someone kick out of it, unless it's a thing where you actually want to have someone kick out of it and the person look out in disbelief. Nash is just standing there, posturing a little bit. As I'm watching, I'm thinking, okay, how are they going to go with this? Then, of course, Nash goes over to Undertaker, and the way he's selling it with his body language is like, oh, I know what he's doing. He's doing the thing where he's like, yeah, I know you're going to get up then, man. Come on, get up. Come on, get up. I know you're going to get up. Come on. Sit up. Taker does, and Nash gets him up, delivers another jackknife, postures a little bit, and then when he goes down to get him, Taker shows he's not dead, despite what Lawler said on commentary. And then we start a choke thing where Taker is grabbing Nash, trying to choke him. Nash punches him down. Looks like he's going to hit him. Does it again. He does it a couple times. Taker eventually gets to his feet and does the standing flying clothesline. He does, running into a flying clothesline. They both get back up again, and Taker does a chokeslam now. Instead of doing his normal chokeslam where, picks him up and drops him, it's a chokeslam where he goes down with him. Now, I wonder if that's because of their comparable sizes, or if Taker did it to show that he was still feeling the effects of the jackknife powerbomb. Either way, I think it worked. If Taker couldn't lift him up for a normal chokeslam, next best thing. It's always nice to see this type of chokeslam done every now and then. And two, like I said, shows Taker in character is still feeling the effects of 2 jackknife powerbombs. Got to protect that finisher a little bit, even if Nash is on his way out of the company. And for this match, doing the JOB. And of course, the match ends the way the match should have ended. Taker gets Nash up for a tombstone piledriver. Puts him down, covers him, and Diesel rests in peace. And of course, the crowd is all into it. They're all over Undertaker in this match, him being a babyface and them still being into him. Which just shows the power of Mark Calloway as a performer, and that for all these years in the 90s, the crowd was still into him without turning on him. Says a lot, since he hadn't really changed his character that much. He had a lot of interesting stories, even if his matches with some opponents weren't the best that they could have been. Because, he was wrestling people like Kamala, Yokozuna, and John Gonzalez. It's more about the spectacle of the characters than it is about the spectacle of the matches, if that makes any sense. Jerry the King Lawler and Vince McMahon himself were on commentary again this year, and their commentary is what you expect. Vince, was still a face commentator at this time, Mr. What a Maneuver. So you get that from him, and of course this is classic heel Lawler on commentary, and he had a couple lines. He had a lot of good one-liners in here. Those cheesy one-liners he would do, and I actually wrote a couple down. Paul Bearer would look okay if it wasn't for his face. Diesel thinks he's walking down 1313 Mockingbird Lane, which that got a chuckle out of me. It's like, got to put in a gothic horror reference here. This may be the worst beating the Undertaker has ever taken. Lawler said that right when Nash was going for the second jackknife. And then around the end of the match, I forget what was going on in ring when Lawler said it, but he did a joke about hoping that Paul Bearer had Folgers crystals in that urn because he's going to need it to revive the Undertaker. Lawler has no shame. This is why I wish there had at least been one pay-per-view that Lawler and Gorilla Monsoon did commentary together. They might not have had chemistry, but I know in his one-liners, Gorilla would have been saying, "Will you stop?" a lot. It would have been interesting just to see as an experiment. As far as I know, they never did, but if they did, it would be an interesting pay-per-view to watch, even if the matches aren't that good. And another little minor thing I noticed all through the match is I kept hearing a trumpet noise. I'm like, did someone in the audience sneak a trumpet into the arena? If so, how'd they get that past security? Because I know working in courthouse security, we wouldn't let someone bring a trumpet in. You're going to take that back outside, sir. No, you're not going to be playing trumpet in the courthouse. The judge is going to kick your ass out of the building. No, please take that back outside. Deputy, this guy's refusing. It'd be like that, basically. Now, of course, this was before 9/11, so maybe they would have let a trumpet in. But even with that into account, it's like, why would the security guards let a trumpet into the building for a sporting event? Or in this case, sports entertainment event? Just a thing that's on my mind. I'm like, if this is actually something that the people in the back are putting in, why? I don't see Samoa Joe in the ring. There's nothing really else to say about the match. In ring-wise, it is what you would expect from these two. The story they told, simple but effective. It's this whole thing of you screwed me, so I'm going to screw you. So that type of match. Taker went over. Nash was on his way out, and even if he wasn't, I think it would have worked better for Taker to win. But then again, if Nash was staying and they had him win, they could have continued his heel run pretty good, because that's one thing that most people who watch this era of WWE say, is that Nash wasn't heel long enough because he was leaving. So we don't know exactly how this whole heel run would have played out, but for what he was there for, he does a pretty good job. Probably wouldn't have been the same as how he did his heel run in WCW, because Diesel and him as Kevin Nash are slightly different characters. That same personality is at the core, but he plays it a little differently. And of course, he always got bigger pops as Diesel, if you believe what some people say. And nothing much else to say about it. Decent match to watch. Definitely would prefer to watch this one over the previous two matches.